Good morning, peoples. Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation back at ya for Yieldmax Group B Actuals. Getting interesting. Man, I've been hitting, typically I was around 95% or higher. I actually love the fact that I missed this because I missed one big giant one and I had been buying it like crazy when it went down. I bought some at 71. I bought some at 70 and a half. I even added some more when it got into the 69s, which it closed, I think, at what, 69.89. What am I showing over here? 69.56. So it's always good, as they say, even if you're wrong on your estimate, because nobody really cares. It's just I had $4.16, and PLTY. Oh, PLTY came in at almost $6, 5.94. I used to think Misty at $4 was a lot of money. Granted, it's an expensive stock, but it's still 110, 111%. NVIDIA, so between the two of those, I was 65 cents off. And like I said, NVIDIA I didn't think it would be a buck 60, but I thought it could run $1.20, $1.30 easily. It's just one of those hard to know. Um, and so between those two, $1.77 being off. I love it though. And 65, that's about $2.40. And I was only off $2.70, right? So, I mean, I'll take the 81%, but, um, and Babo, I've been saying to you guys, I had $1.20 and I should have gone higher with this 22.35 to 18.22, but coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? I was over last week and I was around 95, 96% accurate, and I was over on a few things, 5, 8, 10 cents. And so I was trying to be a little conservative on that, but let's jump through them. So NVIDIA, $1.61. Facebook Meta 47, right? I had 53. JP Morgan, boy, Jamie Dimon was selling like 200 million of his stock. I tell you guys, this market will go down next month. It'll be interesting whether we get a 2-day pop, whether Nvidia after the market closes today gives us a little boost, or it does the opposite and we sell off. If it's just kind of met expectations but guidance wasn't good, then I think the market's going to sell off, and it's going to continue selling off in into March and maybe part of April. It might be May before it recovers. Look, keep buying DCA, guys. I'm not here chicken little, the sky's falling, but I will say that I think within a few years we're done with more than 2 or 3% on the index averages annually. I really think we're going to go back to flat market. Anybody who doesn't understand what that means, which is probably 90% of the YouTubers out there telling everybody how to invest, they didn't live through 66 to 82. Okay. I was trading a little bit in the 70s, um, because I was out of school in college and began my work in the decade of the 70s. So I certainly remember it. And everybody that was real estate times. I was saving to buy my first house in the 70s because real estate was where it was at. By the time I got in, I caught one of those down dips. I caught about a 3-year down dip, and I was all frustrated because everybody I knew that was older had been buying before. And within 2 or 3 years in the 70s, they were making 40, 50%. It used to be real estate was a 5% annual gainer back in the 60s, right? And then in the 80s and 90s, it got very volatile. You'll have 100% in 2.5 years. Then you'll have an 18-month period where it pulls back 50%. I could tell you stories where I bought a house waiting to be built and a new one in Southern California, and I think I paid 484. It was worth 620 by the day I moved in, and somebody said to me, Bruce, you should just sell it. And I said, well, what am I going to do? It's my primary residence. I sold my other one to buy this. They actually were accurate. About 4 years later, I wanted to buy one on the water, and that 620 I moved in that I paid 480 was back to 510. So, I mean, real estate, and look at the stock market. I don't have to tell anybody about this kind of stuff. So, anyway, Facebook 4767, JP Morgan underneath 36, my estimate, 29 cents. Murney, right on, Bruce. You got that one. You called that one. Now, Murney is bouncing, right? It is doing something. I don't know. I was a little disappointed in GDXY, but it has pulled back lately. And it just, it's got at best, a 31% um, IV. So it isn't the best way to play the markets with this. Eventually, when the miners all break out, dips 58 on my S&M 46. Good on them. And then Babo. Guys, if you haven't heard me say it over the last month, besides PLTY, which is just Palantir, which is just my all-time stock. Yeah, I know. It's down 30% in 4 or 5 days. But I called it, loved it, and been buying it. Okay. Babo is going to go a lot higher, and a lot of the Chinese stocks are undervalued. While the US stock market goes down, I think the Chinese market and the tech sector is going to move up. They're just undervalued, guys. So, Pulte, $5.94 on a 416 estimate. I'll take it home. I'll take thousands in payouts there, guys. I'll be looking to buy more when we erase that the $6 off of it on ex dividend. But honestly, I think people are going to jump in for that payment and drive it up. I hope they don't, but I think that's what's going to happen. 1327 on my estimate of 16 and a half. 17.6 on my estimate YMAX and YMAG. Um, Guys, they're just not yielding a lot anymore. I know that that's just weekly. Okay. Am I got the right? Oh, yep, I'm doing the wrong thing. These are 52. Sorry, guys. These are not 13s. When I drag it down from a different column, that's what messed it up. I changed where I was calculating the yield from, and that was the problem. Okay, that's more like it. Morrow's a monthly. All these guys down here are weekly, so these all need to be fixed. 52s, 52s. That's the bad thing about a spreadsheet when you drag down. Okay, I got a little something else for you guys. I'm going to go to my database. Yeah, 81%. I mean, I love it. I don't own any NVIDIA. Uh, I do own some Babo, and so I was pleasantly surprised. I'll take being off 71 cents in a. Oh, I forgot that. Remember, I said that's 230. That's $3 of the 274 inaccuracy, and I own two out of the three, and I'm happy that they were to the upside. All right, guys, and happy for you, whatever you owned. If you owned NVIDIA, if you owned Babo, PLTY, you've got your YMAX and YMAG. These guys, okay, 53 on 59 on Lethargy, 31 for Gapudi. I was close on SDTY. And a lot of these are guesses. They're newer. All right, guys. So that's what I got for you. You can see the yields over here. These are now back accurate. And let me jump into my other spreadsheet for you guys, which is really a database. So what I like to do, and I did it here for you, is let's go trending. What's happening in the markets? Well, one of the ways that I can do that is just go search, okay, for 3-month total return. So you see it right here. Um, and that 3 month total return is 40. That's the leader in the marketplace. Okay. Um, the leader had been PLTY by far. PLTY was up around 45%, and 30% of it was 31% was coming from its NAV. So now you see why it went down 30%. And yet, with that new payout, this was around 15. This jumped the total return. It jumped about because look at the three month yield. That's close to being the winner. Fiat is yielding more, but look at the fiat price, right? And that's probably something good to own. Well, no, that's on the chipset. I was thinking it was the QQQ, the FQQQ. I forget which one in this one. But one of the things, so I like to do this. I like to look at 3 month total return, and you look here and you see Babo. What am I telling you? Own the Chinese. Now, I put these in Rex when I was out doing it today. Look, guys, if you want to jump and you don't want to keep listening to this, it's great. But I think it's some good data because, it's advertised as the Yieldmax Group B, which it was. This is just interesting educational info. So there is a couple of funds, shiny, and then I think it's dull, which is the inverse. But look at these 3 month NAV and 3 month total return, 26% with no income basis. Why? Because it owns gold, and it owns gold at a 3 times on an ETN. So it's a rec share. It's called Shiny. Just FYI, what do I think is going to do really great this year? Gold. But I'll tell you, I think gold gets hit along with the market in the month of March, maybe even in April. I think it recovers in April going into May. I think we go on from 33 to 35 for a yearly high this year. I'm very bullish on that. I see the tariffs causing problems in the stock market from an earnings standpoint to a lot of companies, but at the same time, I see gold winning on that side. So there's a shiny and there's a dull. Dull is the inverse. I mean, I could actually, if I wanted to swing trade, go out and buy dull because I think gold may pop over a day or two and hit the 3,000, but it's going to go back to 27. It could go as low as 25, and then that would be a huge, huge buy. You know about Pulte. This one from Simplify. I added several Simplifies. Hard, it's a portfolio commodity. So they go out and invest in commodities, all right, like soy, cattle, oil, natural gas, you name it, from agriculture to metals to energies. And they pay quarterly, the fourth week of the quarter, and it's not much income. I mean, if you look at the 3 month NAV, that's 1411 of the 1541. But like I've been saying to you guys, commodities. So I hope to, when this database is I'm continuing to add, when it's done, I'll be able to find exactly what I want. I'll be able to see what the market's doing, what's responding. Here's some Rex stuff it's a sub of Rex called microsector. That's why I put the M on there. And there's a 3 times oil bear and a 3 times oil positive. Well, they just started. This one's like 4 days ago. It was 23.88, the bear on oil. It's now 26.87. So they've got it. They rank up here in the 3 month total return. Again, pays none, right? Some of these heavy commodities, they're not going to pay any income, but they're going to perform greatly if you pick them in the right direction. Here's another gold, Simplify. Why gold? Okay, it does pay quarterly, but it's not going to pay anything to speak of. If that, um, I don't think it's going to have any income, but evidently it does pay something. So it was 25, and that's, I don't know how long this one's been. Oh, yeah, here we go. Launched December the 3rd. It's 2808. Enough to rank in all of the funds in my database, which is up close to 100 now. Um, and then GDXY, right? Performing, it's not because of the NAV, right? GDXY on the NAV is down, but 1581 to 1548, but it's still paying 11%. All right, so here's another index, precious metals on Salvo under UBS. So I've started to add a lot more stuff in here. Granite has got an interesting, and the reason I'm reading this, because these are the performers and the 3 month total return. When you see negative over here, okay, for the NAV, it means despite that, it did well. Right, you had a 50-50 here on, as you know, on Babo, you're earning good money and your NAV is going up. Right. 3 months ago it was 1835. It's now 2235, and that's down lately. But I think that goes a lot higher, and that's a 41. That's 100, and that's 124% annualized. You just multiply a 3 month total return by 4, guys, just like you do the 6 month times 2. So where was I? So you got white gold in here, decent. You got Granite's yield boost, right? So they got a yield boost. Their Tesla is performing at 1181. Now, in some fairness to them, if you've owned Tesla longer, like Yieldmax and other funds that have it, you would have been hurt because it ran up after the Trump election and all that, and then it's come back down. These guys don't have that problem. I don't know. I don't have the date in here, but they haven't been around very long, right? The TSYY. Now, and they just announced 2 more on the NASDAQ NDX, QQQs, and on the SPY. So those are just being launched. There's no dividend yet. They're not actually trading, but they'll come out at the $25 target. Uh, okay, so what I was saying here on Granite, this one's been around for a couple of years, and they own all these commodities. I think 548, 794, it's not paying much in the yield, but it does pay something. All right. Bar is another Granite gold, right? Do you see something in this that says what's been performing? Well, guys, I'm telling you, for multi years, you're going to see this in the commodities. You're going to see them oil, gold, Bitcoin. You're going to see them outperforming the indexes. Okay. Curve, NFLP, Netflix, 664 with a NAV loss. Facebook, 6%. JP Morgan, 5%. This guy is another gold, precious metals gold from UBS. And it's had a 3 month yield, a 6 month yield, and a 12-month yield. But it's usually about the stock price. Oops, this is, hang on. I got to make these reds. Big E, the target fund, 3.57. So you can see that I have 100. We're only talking about 25 or 26 that are positive on the 3 month total returns. And obviously, you can go out here and look. Babo hasn't been trading long enough. You can see that Shiny on its annual basis. That's not bad. There's no dividend income, and you've got 115% total return. That makes for a good year. I think people are going to be really surprised, especially you guys that are thinking you're going to get 30 and 40% over the next 15 years. I think we're going to see a period of time, probably around 2030 or so, where you're going to go back to what 1966 to 1982 was. Basically, for what's that? 16 years, the stock market was flat. Whatever you were in 66, you pretty much were in 82. That's an awful market. That's what you call a bear market, right? But these 30, 40% with these leverage instruments, and you think you're going to have 30 years of that, good luck. I mean, if you're a great nimble trader and you're doing all kinds of other things, you might be able to do that. But just buying and letting somebody work it for you, it's not going to happen. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. I'm going to do a lot more with this database. I'm working on some Power BI query tools, putting it, I've already got it in Google Sheets, but when I go to show it, I like to do it in Excel because the Google Sheets will update the prices much easier than the version of Excel I have. You have to have the 365 version of Excel to get your stock prices. Plus, with some JSON and other little bit of coding, I can have a lot of things brought in and updated, which would just be fantastic, even the dividend stuff. All right, guys, this is Bruce with Targeted Wealth Creation. Have a great day the rest of this Wednesday. And hopefully, NVIDIA has good earnings and pops and gives us a few more days before we we face the downdraft that March almost certainly has for us. Hope I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. All right, guys, bye for now.